The West has been bending over backwards trying to accommodate Ukraine's requests since the outset of the conflict, and some of them have been pretty wild. Calls for weapons resulted in European Union countries giving away their own to the detriment of their own national security. Calls for sanctions resulted in the EU sanctioning its own gas supply to the detriment of their own citizens and industry. Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky had even asked the West for a no-fly zone over Ukraine, which could feasibly have led to a direct airborne conflict and shootout between NATO and Russia. Thankfully, he didn't get that. The message constantly being peddled by Zelensky towards the West is that its efforts aren't enough. It's never enough. And now Ukraine wants to go after prominent Wall Street establishment figures personally, alleging war crimes against Ukraine by executives of JP Chase, Citigroup, and HSBC, according to one of Zelensky's economic advisors.
In our logic, all these companies, which you just listed, are committing war crimes since they are financing war criminals.
So basically, you want to see them prosecuted for war crimes, is what you're saying?
Exactly.
The same advisor had previously contacted heads of the financial institutions to tell them how to run their companies, demanding that they refuse to engage with companies that sell and trade Russian oil or gas, or in Russian energy chairs like Gazprom, Rosneft, Lukoil, and Vitol. Team Zelensky is threatening to pursue the managers of these Wall Street companies personally, all the way to the International Criminal Court, which the U.S. doesn't actually recognize. In fact, the United States passed the Hague Convention Act in 2002 during the global war on terrorism, which allows the U.S. to liberate any American or citizen of an allied country held by the court, presumably much to the disappointment of some that would probably also include Wall Street executives. The same impunity with which Washington sparks foreign conflicts, including the one currently raging in Ukraine, also means that Zelensky is facing an uphill battle in bossing around American financial interests. Ukraine also apparently wants to participate in American cancel culture now and cancel prominent figures it dislikes. An entity linked to the Ukrainian government has just published a list of Russian propagandists featuring prominent U.S. elected officials, journalists, and academics who even dare to question the conventional Western narrative on Ukraine. And these figures on the list include Republican Senator Rand Paul, former Rep. Tulsi Gabbard, a Democrat from Hawaii, University of Chicago professor and international relations theorist John Mearsheimer, and Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist Glenn Greenwald. Meanwhile, over here in Europe, Ukraine is telling the EU to ask of Russian citizens filling out visa applications whether they support Russia's role in the conflict in Ukraine.
Different polls show that over 80% of Russians still support the war. They should not get access to the free world.
It'll be interesting to see how far the West actually goes in allowing Team Zelensky to call the shots here in the West. Maybe Zelensky can achieve the impossible and actually succeed in cleaning up Wall Street.